Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Temporally Scripted. So today, we're going to reveal to you who Banksy is. We're going to be discussing the latest deadly virus that we all need to be afraid of, but only if you're a Gen Alpha. We've got 20 grand's worth of Ribena damage, and there's also a record-breaking Goldfish to look forward to, assuming that my memory is long enough to remember, or at least as long as a goldfish. Boom. But as we are here again, it's our favorite time of the week, and I'm sat here once more with the clean shaven, looking 10 years younger. It's Mr. Adam Garcia.
Yeah, what a big improvement, I guess. Not a not a beard inside. Oh no.
No,
less of your face with the beard. It's kind of
yeah. I have to say, last week, as I was making our thumbnails, obviously we use AI for these kinds of things, and I asked it to highlight both of our beards. Yours was pretty accurate. The first version of mine that it made, I had like a big Father Christmas style,
like ZZ
beard.
Top or something.
Yeah. Which, when you've got a bald head, it kind of makes you look like your head's upside down, you know?
Nice. It should have run with it, really.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, but I would never be allowed a beard that long, at least if I wanted to stay married, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty harsh, really.
Yeah, my wife's not a big fan of beards. When I first met her, I had a long beard and long hair, and it didn't last very long.
Oh, right. What, just while you were sleeping? It was shave it all off?
Well, no, actually, I was, believe it or not, I was planning on having a top knot, and I pulled my hair back to do a top knot, and I noticed you could sort of see through it all. It was a bit like looking at a weaving table from the pre-industrial revolution. It's that many holes in it, you know.
It's not ideal. Just one of those middle-aged things, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, at least it meant that I've never been seen out with a top knot.
It could have got really, really bad. I mean, is that the kind of image that you really want? Seems like a good idea at the time, but
not a big fan of top knots.
Hipster top knot thing, not so good. I always think you should put like a little hat on top of them, like a little sombrero or something like that, just a little mini one.
Nice.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, I think if you're like a samurai or something, then you can get away with a top knot.
Yeah, but your average kind of slightly hipsterish kind of dude, maybe not so much.
Yeah, not with harem pants and skinny jeans and a big fat belly. That's a classic look for our age. Yeah. Millennial dad look, skinny jeans, beer belly.
This tightest jeans you can get, and it just somehow pushes all the fat upwards.
Yeah, kind of man like with a muffin top. Man with a muffin top. I would definitely have one of those. To be fair, some of my jeans have become skinny jeans, but they weren't when I bought them 10 years ago.
Weren't intended that way. I kind of know what you mean. There's the occasional clothes put on. It's like, oh, must have shrunk in the wash or something. It's like, no, not at all. Just some middle-aged spread. To go with my middle-aged bad back at the moment. Had a little bit of lower back pain. Thought I'll do a lot of like lower back exercises. That'll cure it. So now it hurt a little bit. Now it really hurts.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You should go to my acupuncture guy. He's really good at taking you from hurts a little bit to really hurts.
Oh, nice. Do you pay him for that?
Yeah, like you go there and you're like, my foot really hurts. He's like, oh, does it? Let me just poke it.
Stamp on the other one.
In it for an hour. And yeah, it makes it more painful. But usually that's a sign that it's getting worse before it's going to get better. So maybe, you've done the same to yourself.
Yeah, it could be. Well,
have you tried hanging yourself?
By the neck or?
Yeah, no, you're just sort of like dead hanging.
Yeah, I don't have a pull-up bar at the moment, which is one thing I want to get. Because I was thinking about that, and I've heard it's really good because it can like help to decompress your back, but also it's just good for lots of other muscles and grip strength and all kinds of things, really.
Yeah, I've got one. You can have it because I've got a frame. So anyway, but we'll go into that another time. People don't need to know about us.
The intricacies of a pull-up bar and
Of us,
geriatric
of us passing it
conditions.
over. But we have like, and as if by magic, the way the universe works, which is interesting. Looking at what our top fives is going to be later on today, a little
Sure is.
sneaky thing into there. But obviously, I didn't wear this deliberately, but I almost have a Banksy-esque top on. If you guys can see at home, it's Mona Lisa in front of a DJ deck.
It's definitely inspired by him. It looks completely like his kind of artwork.
She does look much happier. I guess, if she's like dropping bangers,
Could be, yeah.
does make her look significantly happier than in the real picture. Although I know some people say she looks happy, some people say she looks sad. But this is not about Mona Lisa. This is about Banksy. So what's the story here? Someone's done a major investigation into Banksy's identity and business network.
Yeah. It was
and
uncovered by Reuters. They did like some huge investigation into it. And yeah, I mean, so some of it goes back to an original arrest. I can't remember when, but I think it's about 20 or 30 years ago. But there was this like advertisement on a roof, and he looked up and went, I could make something cool with this. So he went up, altered it, all that kind of thing, but then later got arrested. And so that was like one of the bits of evidence that was in the past that they could link to his original name. Because, which was Robin Gunningham, but he later changed his name to David Jones. So it was kind of like a trail to sort of find sort of that original bit. And that's where part of the information came from. And then also some of it came from Ukraine, because he went there and the weather was like ruined buildings. There was like Banksy artwork that started appearing. And so, yeah, Reuters was like asking locals and did some kind of like lineup as well of like photographs, I guess. So, did you see this man? This man? Oh, well, yeah, no. I saw that one. And that was part of where it came from.
yeah, you wonder if he only goes to parties with like Daft Punk.
Maybe.
Because they went for years, didn't they, with nobody knowing what they looked like or what their faces were.
Yeah, they did, which was like a really, really cool thing to do in a way. Same as like Deadmau5 and other artists like that, I guess, as well.
Yeah,
and maybe
yeah,
they did all go to a party, and it's like no one knows who the hell each other is.
It's like one of those like masked parties that, like Venetian style. Everyone
Oh,
goes
like a masquerade ball.
A masquerade ball, yeah. I mean, so the Daft Punk thing's cool because I think they even went to EMI when they were doing their record deal with their faces covered and stuff, and the label were like, "Oh, you need to take your mask off so we can see who you are and sign these legal documents." And they're like, "Yeah, no, we'll sign with someone else if you want us to do that." It's like, oh, okay,
that's really cool.
I mean, that's pretty cool, man. I think the people do know what they look like now and stuff, but yeah, pretty awesome.
It does add like there's something really alluring and mysterious about like the hidden identity that I think people really, really like. And it does, like you say, run through like Daft Punk or Banksy or Anonymous back in the day when there'd be those hacks and this is Anonymous, whatever on YouTube.
Yeah. I wonder if it work in my industry. If I turn up and I just like fix your marketing and all of that stuff, and then I'm out like a ghost. They don't know who I am.
Phantom of a marketer.
Can you imagine? Like I come into the Zoom call when they want to pay me or whatever, and I've got a mask on. Oh no, sorry, I don't reveal my identity. I'm the Banksy of marketing.
Yeah, I guess it's just they'd have to. I guess if they paid you in crypto or something like that, maybe it'd be all right. I don't know.
Ooh, mysterious marketing.
I mean, but again, with crypto, the Satoshi Nakamoto story, just this unknown, mysterious figure that nobody has a clue who it is. Or we have some clues, but no one's certain.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein.
It might be.
I thought we were going to get away with an episode without it, but it seems like it's impossible. You have to drop it in at some point.
Well, it seems like he did have a lot to do with Bitcoin and
Yeah.
developers. And yeah, I haven't looked into it. I just heard a couple of bits about it. It was like, huh. Well, of
I
course
haven't
he does.
started vibe coding my own Bitcoin yet. I'm thinking about it. That might, I wonder if I can I vibe code my own cryptocurrency?
Can you vibe code your own bank?
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah,
Because you could have like the legal team, the financial experts that you need. You could have the whole infrastructure of transactions. You could have everything, all the accounting, vibe coded. Vibe code a bank, make it an app.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. So so back to Banksy. Do you think he would be as popular if he wasn't anonymous? Or do you think it's just that he does that because obviously there's the legal aspect of stuff? I mean, surely now he can pretty much get away with it without getting arrested.
You would think so. Or now are they going to go back and say, all right, you were responsible for all these acts of vandalism and arrest him?
Well, I guess so, right? I mean, it must still be... You're not just suddenly immune from the law because you're a celebrity, are you? Like,
yeah, I guess the difference is, though, it's like if someone has a house or a business and Banksy does a mural on it, they're not going to call the police. They're going to call Sotheby's or something and try and like take out that bit of wall and sell it for £2 million or something.
yeah, well, that was the one that was cool where he did the shredded picture one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Live at auction.
Yeah, for those of you that are watching and don't know, Banksy set up a shredder inside the frame of one of his pieces of work, and yeah, basically just shredded while they were bidding on it, didn't it?
Yeah, automatically shredded itself. It's just
yeah,
cool.
And I think it was then worth more after that as well. They could sell it on again shredded.
I guess the thing is that one piece would then become way more notorious than all the other pieces. So yeah, it would be worth more.
You've just said One Piece, which makes me realize how disappointed I've been with the new series of One Piece that's came out. But that's a topic for another day.
I don't know what One Piece is.
Well, you haven't lived, Adam. You haven't lived.
Maybe you need to get back on Netflix or whatever it's on.
You need to go and waste 8 hours of your life, yes, on Netflix.
But yeah, in answer to your previous question, I think the anonymity made him way more popular than any other, because it just made it so much cooler that no one knows who it is. And every so often, just these artworks would pop up in different places. And it kind of gives like a story to the artwork, and almost it gives it like a kind of Robin Hood kind of vibe, or I don't know. It's along those kind of lines.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a thinking artist, isn't he? Really, it's not like the art that he creates is anything that's that difficult to create, right? It's mostly stencils and stuff. It's the mix of the styles and like what it's trying to show you. Like example, you've got like the flower in the gun or whatever. It's like there's a name for it which I don't know because I'm an uncultured slob. But there's like a name for where you mix this thing and create something. I can't remember. In cooking, it would be a fusion, right? And I like that because I'm a fat bastard. But right. When it comes to art and culture, I mean, I do like an art gallery. Like I've been to some of the ones in the UK, like Tate Modern and all of these things. I do like it, but I don't really get it. When people go in and I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of looks cool. When you got like, like a pencil sticking out of like a cow's ear, or like half a dog in formaldehyde or whatever. Like I mean, I see it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I don't really get it.
I know what you mean with some of the kind of modern or contemporary art or those kinds of museums. I've been to ones in the past where I've been walking around not really knowing what everything is, to the point that you get to the corner of a room and there's a fire extinguisher, and you start to think, is that a fire extinguisher, or is that a piece of artwork? I don't know, because like with everything else in here, I can't tell.
Yeah, I'm so confused right now. Is this part of it? Is this something extra? Yeah, and I don't know if that again is because I just don't understand things. Like I can look at a really nice statue or a picture or like a painting, and I can understand it. But yeah, some of this other, like there's an artist called Tracy Emin, isn't there? And she has this thing called the unmade bed, and it's
Yeah.
literally just like her bed and her bedroom with like bottles, and it looks like my bedroom when I was a student. Basically, there's like fag ends around and all this other stuff everywhere. I think it's the same kind of bollocks as like fine wine. You know, where they go, oh, this wine is like vintage. It's like, is it vintage? Like, can you really tell the difference between this vintage wine and the £4 bottle of wine from Bargain Booze?
I mean,
I'm doubting it.
You probably could, but I think it's, as the price goes up, probably the difference in, so if the price goes up like this in a huge way, the actual difference in taste probably goes up on a much smaller gradient. As in,
Yeah.
I'm sure when those bottles of wine where it's like £2,000, £10,000, I'm sure it tastes really nice. How many times better does it taste than the bottle that I bought for €3 from some random little place in Spain that makes wine? The difference won't be huge.
Yeah. And I mean, does any wine actually taste nice?
I kind of like it. There's something about that.
Are you sure that's not just alcoholism?
I mean, I definitely like, after 3 bottles, it's
because when you're like a 12-year-old and you have your first glass of wine, which is usually when you start in Europe or the UK, like you're not like, you don't have that first glass of wine and go, that's really good. I'd much rather drink this than Ribena. Like it's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's an acquired taste, isn't it?
It really is. I find sometimes as well, if I open a bottle of wine, let it breathe for a little bit, whatever, pour a glass, but first sip, I think, oh, that's delicious. It's usually the first sip's kind of like, yeah, okay. It's usually like the second or third where you go, oh, actually, that's quite nice.
Which is called inebriation, right?
And by sip, of course, I mean glass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. I am in that snobby period of like 5 weeks no alcohol, though, where I'm like, it's poison in a glass. It doesn't taste great. It's terrible. I can't believe you all still drink that, losers.
Look at how much better I am than you.
Like when you're a week into a detox and you're like, can't believe you eat that. Unbelievable. Disgraceful. Doing that to your body.
But then in like
temple, good sir.
And with the alcohol things, like a couple of weeks of like, I might just have a beer. And then pretty soon you're like 9 deep, posting crap on Facebook, arguing with people. Yeah, I don't know.
People that you think are people. Yeah. No, I think that is it for me. Is like I can't be a 1 drink sort of guy. I'm a 20 drink guy. I don't see the point in it. And I guess that is related to not really liking or understanding the taste of alcohol. It's like if I drink, like I don't think, I'll just have 2 beers. What's the point in that? I just don't get it. Go out, just have 2 beers, enjoy it, go home. Like, why? I don't know. If I'm not having 20 fags and 12 beers, what's the point? I might as well not bother.
I think, especially with, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that point, but also I was just thinking with the whole wine thing, I think it's massively inflated in price. And yeah, there is like a scarcity with certain bottles and whatever, because only so many were made and there's only so many left, and so it becomes valuable, but it's just way overpriced for what it is. And I think it's almost just like a fashion thing for certain members or people at certain levels of society to go, I've got the Chateau from Flora. This cost me 10,000 bottle. And it's like, yeah, it might have done, but it's like, it's just stuff to drink that's going to get you a bit drunk and tastes okay. The whole market seems really inflated, and it's kind of the same. You know, when you have like really prestigious brands, and for some reason this bag of these shoes costs some ungodly amount of money, and it's like, why? It's just material stitched together of like a reasonable quality. It probably costs like, I don't know, $20 to make, but you're selling it for $2,000. It's not. I don't know. There's always these kinds of markets. Just rich people have got money, so let's pretend that this is high quality. We'll take that money.
Yeah, and it links back down to one of those sort of click run things in humans where they see the value of things they don't understand the value of based on the price. It's like the first thing that you look at. And there's a story about this in a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini, and he's basically, this woman has got these pots in a seaside town that she can't sell, and she keeps reducing the price, and no one buys them, right? So she gets super annoyed and just leaves a note for her assistant while she goes away one weekend to say, just cut them by half. That's the cost price. Get them sold. And then she comes back and they've all been sold. And she says to her assistant, oh, great. We sold all of that brown pottery or whatever. Like, have you got the receipts for it? The assistant's like, yeah, they went yesterday. Here's the receipts. And she looks at them, and the assistant has accidentally doubled them in price. Right. And because the people come into that, they come into the seaside town, they don't have a fucking clue what these things are worth, but they see it's a high price and they're like, oh, it's a high price, so they must be good. I'm going to buy them. Right. And that's like, I think when people get richer and stuff, and there's an interesting line in the divide, isn't there, between like certain things, and I know we are meandering into all kinds of stuff, but it's temporarily scripted. So if you don't like it, you can fuck off. If you do like it, subscribe, buttons at the bottom. But like the same with things like, Louis Vuitton and all of these brands. Like rich people don't really bother with that shit. Like Mark Zuckerberg wears like $500 t-shirts, but they don't have a brand on because he doesn't need to go, oh look, I'm rich. It's like, he doesn't care about that. So there's like levels within this as well, isn't there?
Yes, you have that like people trying to get status by showing, oh, I've got this, it's Dolce & Gabbana, whatever. And it's like, yeah, but you just spent like half of the month's wages on that, and now you're going to be skinned at the end of the month, but at least you look better in front of your friends. But there's elements of that as well, and it's always that's probably a great marketing trick that they've played on people.
yeah, this is it. So anyway, Banksy, we
got a little bit lost.
But it does make sense though, because it's like, again, it's like is Banksy stuff worth millions of dollars? Well, not really. Do you know what I mean? Not really. Like, and again, a lot of these things, it's just interesting, a view of how the human mind works and how value works and all of these things.
And would some of his pieces be worth that much money if he wasn't anonymous all these years?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of part of it, isn't it? No, exactly. So moving on to something a bit more serious, but also an interesting one. It's something I actually remember from being a kid. So there's a big meningitis outbreak in Kent, and it's a national incident where a lot of students are getting sick with this really serious meningitis disease cluster. I think 2 dead so far, 15 cases. And it's something I remember.
It's up to 20 now.
Wow. And it's something I remember. I think this first became a thing when we were at school. I remember meningitis being a big thing when we were young.
I have memories of it. Yeah. I remember someone in my class getting meningitis and being off for like a week or something.
And I know there's B and C or something. Meningitis A, meningitis B, meningitis C. Like one of them's worse than the other.
Yeah, there's like the viral form and the bacterial form.
And
I think they eventually lead to like sepsis or something like that. And from what I remember, meningitis, it's like an inflammation of something that goes around the brain, the meninges or something. I'm guessing that's not scientific, but I'm guessing
meningococcal B. So it's meningitis B. an
It's a
invasive
bacterial.
disease. Yeah, a bacterial one. And I mean, it's also I also remember things like closing your mouth like this and like being able to move your chin to your chest was like the way you would test. Because I remember being a kid and being super paranoid about if you get slightly ill or something and going, no, I can still do that. I think, and the other one was it not? You get a rash, and if you put like a glass on the rash,
Yeah.
and push it, and if the rash disappears, then it's okay. And I've still done that in recent years. It's like it's weird how these things get so ingrained in you
They
when you're
do,
a kid.
yeah, because it's you kind of conditioned with it. And I suppose as a kid, what you're doing is you're learning how to survive and how to interpret your environment. And so probably it's like an evolutionary thing that when you get told certain things as a kid, that stays with you forever. And so, yeah, you'll still like check with a glass. Oh, is that rash going? Because it would be, because that's how animals would have to evolve and learn during childhood, which is probably still why every so often we mention something and we think it's knowledge, but it was something that we heard in the playground at school when we were 7 years old, but we still think it's true for some reason.
All right, I feel called out. There's no need to call me out directly on that, is there, Adam? Thanks, like crazy.
Why is it called Friday again? Oh, yeah.
Friday. Yeah, exactly, because that's when we fry. It's the day we fry. I wonder if this would be such a big deal if we hadn't have had, obviously, everything that went on with COVID, is my first question. My second question is like, what's the difference between, the COVID pandemic and this spreading and this meningitis thing? Like, is this something that could go far and wide, or is it more difficult to pass between things? I mean, I know you have deep medical experience and expertise, so if you could tell me, what to expect, should I be worried?
Well, for one, I think the media loves a good virus story, just as they learned during COVID that was a good way to sell papers. And so every so often you get it rattled out, and the next thing is going to be the next big pandemic or whatever, get people scared. And I think that's definitely happening here. I mean, with meningitis, it's like, yeah, you can catch this from other people, but you have to be very, very close to them or exchanging some sort of fluids or various things.
So that's why it's so big in the student world.
I'm sure it was known as like the kissing disease many years ago. And so it's really close contact that gets spread. So it could be like you sort of talking to someone close to them, some bit of spit and lands on them.
You got a lisp. So the advice list is stay away from people that have lisps, no orgies, no bong sharing.
That was another one that they mentioned, actually. They mentioned
people bong sharing,
but close. People sharing vapes.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And there would be other things that students are sharing that, all that kind of thing. It's just a transfer of like saliva from one to the other. So
bus stop twos.
Yeah, exactly. So don't ask for bus stop twos off random people at the bus stop, and you should be all right. But it's nothing. It's nothing like other viruses that we've had where they're actually quite contagious and can be airborne. It seems to be nothing like that.
Right. Okay. So no more LDs. Did you call it LDs as well? Last drags. So same as LDs on that, mate. Those are the days.
Good memories.
No more salvaging the butts from ashtrays for days where you can't afford any more backer before the gyro arrives.
Binging in the ashtray.
I've run out of backer. I'm gonna have to salvage some of these tab ends.
Good times. Good memories.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So this kind of makes me think about Neuralink, but China has approved a commercial brain computer implant. Is this the new way for us to keep up with AI as we move closer to AGI and then ASI? Or is this some mad hype situation? What's the story, Morning
Well, I
Glory?
think it could well be some mad hype situation because things often are. Also, I think you said it reminds me of Neuralink. I wonder how much it reminds Elon Musk of Neuralink and how close to Neuralink it might actually be. Because I know
Pretty
that
close.
quite often Chinese researchers seem to be very good at researching existing ideas and known technology and copying it really well. So I don't know how much of like Neuralink's actual patents or ideas went into this or what it actually is in full.
Would you get one?
How about you get one first? We'll see what happens. I'll give it 6 months.
I get the Neuralink one, and you test the Chinese one.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So if you go to talking Neuralink and Elon Musk, he said that the reason that he invented it is because he perceives it as the only way humanity can sustain in an AI future. Like the only way that humanity can continue to be useful in an AI future. And his thought process behind it, as I understand it, I might be misquoting or bastardizing what he said a little bit, is that human brain is very, very good and brilliant at lots of things, but its processing speed is slower. So by giving it like a Neuralink, it gives it an ability to access information and process quicker, which means that we have a place in a AI driven world that we're moving towards. Interesting.
Yeah, I guess it would just be I think part of it would be that our senses are only so good and there's only so much information we could take in at one time, and maybe this would increase the amount of information that we can take in, like increase the sort of broadband, which is interesting, and maybe also for the output as well, because think about it now, when we're using AI, we're not really using it to its full potential. And say, imagine like how long it is, say if you go on Claude and decide to make a project to make something or design a website or something like that, you've got to think about it yourself, you've got to type it, then Claude gives you the output, you've got to read all that, then you've got to put in, oh, change this and this, can we do blah, blah, blah? And you're having this really long back and forth. Whereas if the connection was a lot quicker, you could do that so much faster and still be conscious of it.
Yeah, almost like every thought you have can then go and become a fully processed thing. But I can be sat here now thinking, after this podcast, I've got to remind this person about this thing. And just that very thought in my head, if I'm attached to Neuralink and go, and it goes off and does it for me, I'm like, oh crap, I've got a clash tomorrow. Like that popped into my head a minute ago. I've got a clash. I agreed to meet someone for lunch and I've got someone come into my house, right? And I'm like, oh crap. That split second thought while we're doing this podcast could go and it runs off and executes and sends the messages, does all the stuff, and then comes back and goes, oh yeah, that's sorted. So it's like,
like
I mean, how stuff.
When it gets to that kind of stage, I don't know how much we'll actually be able to process, or whether it all like literally overloads our systems.
Or what will the point of processing it even be?
I don't know, because you could just get an AI to do it for you.
Yeah, like, oh, let's have a lunch. We need to catch up. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, we're caught up. I know everything. In your mind. You know everything.
Catch up again in a year.
Okay, cool. Like, what's next? You know, there's no. Instead of subscribing to a podcast, you could just subscribe to someone's like train of thought.
Yeah, you literally could.
And I think that's when you hit the point of singularity. You know.
Well, if we're not in it already. But I think the thing is as well, it's another example of that idea of hyper novelty, where we're growing up in a world that we weren't evolved to, and then that world is changing around us continually. And I think having computers linked to our brains could be, so, well, we're definitely not evolved for it. And I would, just in the same way that we see so many different problems with like mental health or depression and all kinds of problems that seem to stem from our current interaction with technology and social media and everything else, this would just be the next stage. And they could have a lot of unintended consequences.
Yeah, and the way that this kind of worded, I mean, I get that these kind of things are really, really good for medical, right? And that's what they're being brought in as now, is that they can help you if you've lost your, ability to walk, or you've got brain disease, or all of these other potential things that it can solve, quadriplegia and whatever else, right? Is crazy
huge.
cool. And yeah, huge in terms of what it can do. But then when it says things like this, so Reuters said that it uses a minimally invasive extradural implantation. That sounds a lot easier than I believe that it is. The minimally invasive implantation method. So they're definitely going to just call that the MIEI, aren't they? The MIE method.
Yeah, come in tomorrow, get your MIE done.
yeah. It's minimally invasive. You can see it on the ad, that minimally invasive brain implant. I mean,
well, it's better than it being maximally invasive.
Yeah, are we just? It's going to be like a RoboCop Terminator style future, really. I don't know. Maybe the best possibility for the future of humanity is some kind of huge EMP.
Yeah, I've thought about that. But actually, and it does kind of happen every so often. You just get a huge wave of like electromagnetic radiation from the sun. And maybe in some ways, if it just went, just fried everything, shut down AI, shut down various weapon systems, everything else, and we all just have to kind of start again, it might, in a funny way, it could actually delay the AI apocalypse.
Yeah, but then that being said, if that happens, what do all the nuclear power stations just like melt down? Like,
no,
what happens?
I think most power stations, there's like a kind of safety mechanisms. So if the power is cut, I believe anyway.
Initially, right? But surely over time, concrete will degrade everything. Like they're ticking time bombs unless something is done. This is going to be my rabbit hole for the afternoon now, folks. I'm going to be in AI saying if there was like an EMP that wiped out all power and all communication across the planet, would the nuclear power stations like melt down eventually? Like what the, anyway.
I mean, this is the thing about these neural implants. If you had one, you could have just asked it, got the question already.
Yeah, how much better would this podcast be? Yeah, we'd actually know what the fuck we were talking about.
It'd be amazing.
This stuff's making my brain hurt. So, like, let's do one more AI story, and then we can start talking about Ribenas and Goldfish breaking world records, because that is much more in our lane.
Really good.
Than some of this stuff. It's crazy. But yeah, so this is an article that was highlighted in a fine piece of British journalism. It used to be my morning shitritture in the office at Boots, which is the Metro. Fantastic free daily newspaper. But they've highlighted this study about AI sounding confident but being dangerously wrong. Can you tell us a little bit more about the example that we've got? Because this is right up your street.
Right up
or up your anus.
Yeah, well, this is it. So they cited a study where researchers had looked into various LLMs, and it is what we just mentioned, that they sound incredibly confident but can be dangerously wrong. Some in slightly more humorous ways than others. So one large language model literally recommended to someone that if they shoved some garlic where the sun doesn't shine, then that would boost their immune health.
Makes sense. I mean, they say that things up there they act quicker than things down here. And I know when I've had bad colds before, I've like crunched garlic up with honey and other stuff, and it does seem to speed the recovery from such things if you ingest it. So you can understand why people might think if you supposit that up the tailpipe, you might end up, with a faster benefit, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, the Lancet did describe this as potentially harmful.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it probably would be, at least for your family that have to smell your.
It's not going to be great, is it really?
Not really, no. I mean, I'm on a high protein diet as it is, so it's already bad. But if I started like stuffing garlic at my rectal orifice, I think it would probably make my farts even more dangerous than they already are,
Yeah. But I guess the whole thing, it is one of those problems with AI, and it always does sound confident and speaks like it's correct. But the thing is,
Yeah.
there's a lot of cases where it's not. And some of the things that they cited in here was times when it advised that getting a mammogram was bad because that could actually give and cause breast cancer, which it doesn't. And so it's some of the advice is kind of dangerous in many ways. And I'm sure there's been worse examples than that as well. But I guess the thing to do is just kind of anything like that, take it with a pinch of salt and a bulb of garlic.
Up the at least it disinfect it a bit with a bit. Yeah. Not good. It's not fun.
I mean, just thinking, I know from stories I've heard in the UK, sometimes it's quite a long wait to get to see a doctor. And I wonder how many more people are now self-diagnosing with AI. And I mean, the thing is, when you could argue as well, even if it's not right, if it's right most of the time, maybe that's better than waiting an extra 2 weeks to see the doctor or something.
Yeah, as long as you don't start asking how to do surgery and stuff.
Yeah.
How do I extract this myself? Yeah, crazy. I wonder if this was what happened with Carolyn Jensen when she decided to sue Ribena for £20,000 because a bottle of it exploded in her kitchen, and ChatGPT said, yeah, sure, that's a great idea. Let me go into the legalities behind this.
Yeah, well, which is actually a very, very interesting story. So, yeah, so she's claiming £20,000 worth of damage was caused when a Ribena bottle exploded in a kitchen.
There's something not quite right about this, surely.
I mean, you'd have to be very rich for it to cause that much damage. And let's just have a look. So she said she woke in the night to a loud pop-like bang and found that a bottle of Ribena had exploded in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So apparently she opened the bottle the previous week, drunk about a quarter of it. I don't know if that was neat or mixed with something. And she left it outside of the fridge lying down. And it seems like there's a buildup of pressure because like the bottle itself had actually rounded, which could be a sign of fermentation caused by yeast. But manufacturers
say where the yeast came from, Carolyn.
Well, manufacturers saying that it wasn't their problem and it was not caused by the manufacturing progress. And it did say once opened, store in the fridge, drink within 21 days. So I think she might have left it in there for quite a long time. But she's sort of saying that the costs were like £4,500 for plastering, £1,500 for floor polishing, and chairs costing around £3,600 each.
Wow. I'm going to get into the floor polishing business for a start. That's it. I'm done with marketing. I'm going to become an anonymous floor polisher.
Yeah, why not? I think it's a good way to go. It seems pretty lucrative.
The marketing campaign can be like secretly polishing people's floor at night and then leaving so they don't know who polished it.
I think what you need is like a partner in crime who's like a Ribena insider that can secretly put a little bit of yeast in each bottle and have more explosions around the country.
Yeah, is there the bit missing from this story that her son or daughter is like a YouTuber?
Maybe, yeah.
And this is some kind
reaction.
Like the Coke bottle prank that people do, where they get a Coke bottle and put some Mentos in it and then like put it in the fridge and then hide waiting for their family member who obviously knows about it already, but looks like they don't know about it. And they come in and open the fridge and get,
Yeah, could be something kind of like that.
What is a high spec passive house, by the way? Because it says in the article, the house is described as a high spec passive house. What does that mean?
I have absolutely no idea.
What's a passive house? And what's an active house? It sounds like a music genre. Oh, yeah. What do you play, mate? Oh, yeah. Active house. Yeah. If it gets late, it's some passive house. And people are on a more chill, I'll play some passive house, but mostly I'm an active house DJ. I mean, what is that?
I have no idea. Is it some kind of like eco-friendly thing?
Passive house? Well, I don't know. It sounds like some pretentious bullshit to me.
It really does, because that's one thing I've definitely never, ever heard of. Let's have a look. Let's see if Google has any answers. A building designed to an ultra-low energy standard that provides exceptional thermal comfort and indoor air quality with almost no reliance on traditional heating or cooling systems.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty fancy.
I'm just laughing again at the talking points because I know we do our preparation, and one of the talking points says, people think of familiar consumer brands as basically risk-free. So when something bizarre happens, it feels like a betrayal, not just an inconvenience. How dare you, Ribena bottle, betray me and destroy my kitchen? Oh, the horror. Brilliant. Okay. The part that everybody's been waiting for today, me included, right? We love a good record here at Temporally Scripted. Guinness Records, they should come and get involved. Maybe we are the longest running podcast with the lowest number of subscribers. I don't know.
I believe
possibly we could get a Guinness World Record for that. But a goldfish called Blurb has helped set a Guinness World Record by driving a motion censored vehicle.
Yeah, which is pretty wild. So it's essentially for the listeners, I don't know if we can show a picture, but it's basically like a radio controlled car with a small goldfish tank on the top, and then what looks like a phone on top of that. And there's a motion sensor inside, and every time the fish moves, the car moves the same direction.
I have got the image, so if I could just share my screen very quickly for the viewerage. Assuming that it will load for me. Yeah, so I've got actual footage of this goldfish driving the car here, as you can see. So
I'm not sure that's exactly accurate.
Oh no, sorry, it's this one.
Yeah, it must be.
But actually, it's this one, guys. So just so you really
it is, and it would be more Blurb himself.
That is Blurb over here. It would be more fun if it was this guy or even this guy. This actually
one too many.
Yeah, this actually gives me a bit of PTSD. I've started going through the David Goggins book recently, and because I feel like I need someone to kick me at my rectal orifice. Second time we dropped that in today. And yeah, he talks about writing down all of the things in your life that you remember that are potential trauma. And one of the things I remember when I was a kid, I used to have a recurring dream that my dad was, his head was a goldfish.
Oh, right. Did he just
So
have
in
like
the
the front part, or was his whole
no,
head?
a whole goldfish, yeah. So, and I can still remember this to my day, to the day. I'm 38 years old, right? Yeah, I remember this vivid dream that I had repeatedly of like being in bed and looking over at my dad and his head being a whole goldfish.
Oh, wow. So don't know what to say, really. Seek help. Seek help and never call me again.
Yeah. So this goldfish drove 12.28 meters. I don't know if he was the first one setting the record or if it's a
No,
record that
the
is
previous
regularly.
record was 5 meters. So you more than doubled the record, which is quite impressive.
See, and people wonder what humans will do when AI takes over all the stuff.
I mean, do you think Guinness World Records is getting a little bit out of control? Because if we read it, it's like Blurb set the record for the greatest distance covered in a motion sensing vehicle by a goldfish in 1 minute. And that's an actual record.
This is what, but what else will humans do once AI takes over all the important stuff?
This is it.
Maybe setting Guinness World Records is going to be the thing. There might be a whole Olympics of this. Goldfish that drove the longest for 1 minute, goldfish for 2 minutes, endurance goldfish, goldfish swimming inside a tank, inside a swimming pool that has a mechanical robot on the outside swimming that's controlled by the goldfish. Right?
Like a tank in a tank in a tank, all kinds of things, really.
The sky's the limit, really, isn't it? You know,
It
like
really
used to
is.
just you know, a goldfish riding a horse that's riding.
We have the singularity with AI, but this could be the singularity of goldfish doing stuff.
Yeah.
Records.
Just think about this: a goldfish that's controlling a horse that's got to run a race, while the horse that's running the race is controlling the goldfish that's got to swim a distance. I mean, that is the cinema.
You could have some kind of loop as well, where the goldfish is controlling the horse is controlling the goldfish, and who knows, and we're all on wheels somehow.
I would subscribe to that for $9.99.
Something rocket powered in there would be good as well, just to add a bit of fun. I'm sure Ed the Shed's on it already.
Exactly, you know, and that's it. We're gonna have more time for these things in the future. But yeah, wild. What a crazy record. It does make me wonder what else there could possibly be. You know, I wonder if I can get like the world record for the fastest time pushing a pen across a 6-foot standing desk.
Probably already being taken.
Pinky. I don't know. Madness. Anyway, so that brings us to the final part of our episode here today on Temporally Scripted. As always, we bring you our top fives, and today's top fives, Adam, take it away.
Yeah, so today's top fives are top psychic predictions that allegedly came true. So as we know, there's been a lot of psychics throughout history, and on occasion, some of them are right.
Yeah.
So the first one was someone called Jean Dixon. And this is widely sort of stated in history as a good example of a psychic being correct. Yeah, so in 1956, she was in an issue of Parade magazine, and she predicted that a Democrat would win the presidency, but then not make it out of office and be bumped off. And later, JFK, a Democrat, was elected in 1960. And then on 22nd of November, 1963, it all ended in Dealey Plaza.
And then on the 22nd of December, 1963, Dixon was arrested for the assassination.
Assassination might be a good word to block out, actually. I was trying not to use it because it seems to get flagged. Or it definitely does on social media. I don't know if it does on YouTube. I guess we'll find out. Hard to tell though when
You only get
when
6
views
views
are
an
so
episode.
low.
Yeah.
Subscribe, folks, please.
Please subscribe.
Okay, so the next one was by a famous psychic called Edgar Casey, who's really well known. A lot of people really believe him, and so much so you now have like the Edgar Casey Foundation and various other things. But he had a warning in 1929 that Wall Street would crash later that year, which, yeah, so apparently it was about 6 months before the Wall Street crash of 1929, and he warned of a great disturbance in financial circles. And then 6 months later, in October, the great crash came.
Wow.
So, yeah, which is kind of good, but I would imagine it was such a huge crash, and I would imagine in certain circles there was people talking about it already. Just like now, there's that, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something like someone talking about economists, and it's like, economists who've predicted 11 of the last 2 recessions. There's always people like making...
Yeah, the guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what's his name? Richard
Robert
something.
Kiyosaki,
I was close. I was real close. And yeah, he's always saying it's going to crash or whatever every 3 months.
Has been for at least a decade.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so number 3 is also Edgar Casey, because this is quite a good one. He was called the sleeping prophet because apparently he'd go into these like trance-like sleep states and would come back with predictions.
Is he the original Jeffrey Epstein?
Probably. I don't know. Who knows? Let's not make those kinds of allegations.
Oh, no, yeah, it's just being facetious. Yes.
But yeah, back in 1935, he described Austrians, Germans, and later the Japanese as joining in their influence in the future. And people kind of went, wow, that's interesting. But then, of course, World War II comes, and you had Austrians, Germans, and Japanese joining in their influence, which is kind of interesting. I think with a lot of these things, though, it's like psychics, they get a lot of things right, but that's because they say a lot of things, and the percentage is always kind of low. And it's like when you have the people doing psychic readings in front of an audience, and he'll be there on stage and goes, and I can see an elderly gentleman at the back, and his name's got like a j sound. Is it John or James? Someone goes, oh, maybe it's my Uncle Jeff. Good enough. Okay.
Yeah.
He was in the army. He was in the army, wasn't he? No. Oh, no. But he did like the color green. Do you remember that green jumper that he had? Oh, yeah, I do actually. Has he got a message from me? Has he got a message for me from the other side? It's like, oh, well, he says he's proud of you, but the number 9 will be important to you in the future. And he says he doesn't like the picture in your living room. Which picture? He says, you'll know the one. It's like, and people,
this guy's genius.
And all the hits go, wow, yeah, okay. And the misses people just forget. That's how psychics work.
Crazy stuff,
unfortunately. Right, anyway, on with it. So number 4 is Nostradamus and the death of Henry II. Nostradamus, probably the most famous psychic in history, I would say. But yeah, he published his prediction in 1555, and Henry II died in 1559 from, I believe it was a jousting injury.
Terrible way to go.
It sounds pretty bad. But again,
valid,
but... I was just going to say, again, with like Nostradamus, he had these what were called quatrains, but they were all really vague. So some people think he did something and predicted 9/11 because he said something like 2 brothers will fall in the West and on a certain day. Well, it could mean literally anything. And the more vague you make it, the
easier it is to link back.
Exactly, especially after the fact. Yeah, and the last one was someone called Chihiro, who predicted his own death. He was like a famous Irish palmist and a cult celebrity in the late 19th.
Chihiro, so it was.
Exactly. So yeah, apparently he predicted his own death in 1936. Some say down to the hour, but that's kind of contested. But he did get the day right, and it seems like he died of an illness. So it wasn't like self-inflicted, just to make sure that his prediction came true.
Yeah,
but anyway,
he knew he was on the way out, and he thought, you know what, let's get this right.
And either way, on that day, Chihiro said cheerio, and that was it.
Oh dear. I'm sorry if any of his family are subscribers. We don't mean that. I know it was a very long time ago.
It was indeed, but I guess he was right about something.
Fantastic. And that wraps us up for this week's top 5, and it does wrap us up for this week's episode. So Temporally Scripted is done for another week. Sad times. I might add in a little sound effects in the edit.
I think you should.
I probably won't. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget, give us a like, subscribe, share it, tell your friends, tell your nan, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much, Adam, for joining us once again.
As always, see you next time, folks.
Goodbye.